Hey friends, we're going to read a story today called Different. And it's a story about loving your neighbor or making sure that we are friendly and respectful of people that don't look the same as us. This little boy in our story, he moved to the United States for the first time because his dad got a job. And he was wearing different clothes, a dashiki. And that's clothes, apparel, things that you might wear in a different country. A lot of people in Africa might wear a dashiki. But people in the United States, maybe that came from Africa, could wear the same thing, just like the little boy that we're going to see here. He was so excited to come to a new school and wear his dashiki and show all of his new friends. But when he wore it, he got made fun of. And we're going to see that definitely made him feel bad. Now, his teacher saw that he felt bad, and she told him, "It's okay. You're different. You're made to stand out," because he didn't want to. After people made fun of him, he was very sad. But she recognized that he had great talent. So let's see what happens to change all his classmates into really appreciating and understanding that he was a great friend to have. Now, the author of the story is Chris Singleton, and the illustrations are by William Young. So, different. So let's go ahead and get started here. Different, a story about loving your neighbor. Tomorrow, Benny thought. Tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the most important day since Dad got his new job in the United States. Benny had thought about it on the plane all the way from Nigeria. He thought about it while people in uniform stamped his parents' paperwork. He thought about it during the long, hot car ride to Charleston. Now they were finally here. And so was tomorrow, the first day of school. He carefully smoothed the front of his dashiki. Benny loved his traditional clothes. They took him back home, back to Nigeria. So when he was wearing his dashiki, it reminded him of home, where he was born and came from. The reds were like the setting sun, crimson behind the mountains. The golds shimmering like the dancing grasses on the savanna. The blues shone like the endless depths of the warm, living ocean. Tomorrow, he thought, tomorrow he would show all his classmates what it was to be Nigerian. So he was so excited to show his dashiki to all of his new classmates and explain to them how it reminded him of being from Nigeria. The next morning, Obini gulped down his breakfast and rushed out the door, his sneakers pounding the sidewalk. Pound, pound, pound. You see him running on his way to school. Here's the gate to come into the school. He ran past the neighbors, around the corner store, and toward the school gates, and straight into Mrs. Sharonda. "Careful, Sugarfoot," cried Mrs. Sharonda, but then she smiled. "You're a strong runner, as long as you look where you're going," she said with a wink. "New student? I believe you're in my class right over here." The classroom was noisy, like classrooms usually are at the beginning of a school day. But when Obini walked in, there was a sudden, uncomfortable silence. 20 students were already in the room, and 20 pairs of eyes took in Obini's clothing, his hair, his difference. Then 20 people started laughing. "Look at his clothes," said one boy. "I would never wear that to school," said a girl. "And where did he get that haircut?" laughed another. "Hush now," said Mrs. Sharonda. But it was too late. Look at O'Benny. They've hurt his feelings. He's very upset. O'Benny burst out of the room and ran, pound, 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 through the hallway, past the office, around the corner, into the bathroom he ran, his tears mingling with his sneakers on the tile floor. He pulled off his dashiki and threw it on the ground. "Yesterday," O'Benny cried. "Oh, how I wish it was yesterday instead." He was so happy to come to school yesterday, but now that he's at school, he's not so happy. He cried for Nigeria. He cried for the sun and the savannah and the ocean. He cried to be normal, but he couldn't. He was different like his dashiki. There was a knock on the door. "O'Benny?" It was Mrs. Sharonda. O'Benny wiped his eyes, sniffed, and went out to his teacher. She handed him a tissue. Her eyes were soft, the kind of eyes that seem to know exactly what you're feeling without you having to say a word. They sat in silence for a long, long time. Then, "Never be ashamed of who you are, O'Benny," Mr. Sharonda said. "You are beautifully and wonderfully made." "I'm not," O'Benny said. "I'll never fit in." "But I think that you, O'Benny, weren't made to fit in," Mrs. Sharonda said. "You were made to stand out. You'll see." She gave O'Benny a hug and helped him put his dashiki back on. "And," she said, "I think our class will need your help in the school relay race. I haven't seen a boy run like you in all my years of teaching. How about we join the class on the field?" All the classes from the school were lined up along the field outside. O'Benny's class hooped and hollered with excitement, but O'Benny snuck to the back of the line, his hands deep in his pockets as if he could pull himself in and hide. Yesterday, he thought to himself. The principal stood at the edge of the field. At the sound of the whistle, each class must have one student run the length of the field and return to the line, he said. He or she must tag the next student, and they must run the field as well. The first class to have all students finish will be the winner. Ready? 3, 2, 1. There was a sharp blast of a whistle, and the student from each class sprinted across the field, so they're running as fast as they could. O'Benny couldn't help cheering with the rest of the class. The first student finished, and with O'Benny in line next, there were 20 students left, then 15, then 10, then 5. O'Benny's class was tied for first with another class. 3 students left, still tied. 2 students left. The other class was pulling ahead. 1 student left. And then O'Benny realized it was his turn. He slammed his sneakers into the grass. Pound, pound, pound. He pumped his arms. He rocketed across the field. "Go, O'Benny!" cheered Mrs. Sharonda. "Go, O'Benny!" screamed his class. In the excitement of the race, it seemed everything else was forgotten. His difference, his hair, his dashiki, blowing furiously in the wind. He made it all the way to the end of the field and turned around for the final length. The other class's last runner was a little way ahead of him. O'Benny put on an extra burst of speed and raced across the field. Pound, pound, pound. He ran past the half marker, past the quarter marker, past the end, and straight into the arms of his cheering classmates. "Mrs. Sharonda's class wins," said the principal. Mrs. Sharonda's class screamed and cheered and lifted Obini into their arms, dashiki and all. They marched back to class, this time with Obini at the front of the line. And as the excitement died down, some of Obini's classmates seemed to remember that Obini was different. They saw his hair. They took in his dashiki. But this time, "I'm sorry, Obina," said one boy. "Me too," said a girl. "I think what you're wearing is pretty neat," said another. "Is that from where you're from?" Obini grinned and told them about the crimson sun. He described the golden savanna and the blue ocean. The class was amazed. "Mrs. Sharonda," they said, "can we learn more about Nigeria?" Obini smiled to himself. Today, he thought, today is the best day ever. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that story. And if you see someone who is different from you, I want you to make sure you try to get to know that person. It's never okay to laugh at someone that's different from you because they look different, or they're wearing something different, or maybe they talk different from you. We need to really get to know all of the people that in our neighborhood, in our class, in our school, and learn to appreciate their differences. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed that wonderful story.